Let's pray.
Lord.
Oh Lord, as we start, I pray that you help us to know the right things to say. Help us to speak value that will impact the lives of every listener in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Welcome back to our channel and happy new month.
Happy New Month. Welcome to February.
Yes.
The month of many firsts. It's like the second month, but it's the month of many firsts. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, this month is special to us for, obvious reasons. Maybe not obvious to maybe those who are new to the channel, but for those who are OGs, those who have been with us since this channel started, you would remember that we got married in February last year. So that's one of the many reasons we are just so excited about February.
Thanksgiving mode.
Because this is anniversary month for us. And because of that, we thought it would be nice to come on here and just share what 1 year has been like, right?
Yeah. So we want to share a bit of our experience as it's been so far.
Yeah.
And the goal of this, like we stated from get-go, is to inspire young people, singles, newly married, just learning so they can glean from my experience, right?
Yes.
Not because we've perfected it, right? But because we're perfecting it day by day, as by the help of the Lord and also by wisdom that we derive from our teachers, all right? Yeah. So just want to share some of those experiences with you so you also can learn and also be inspired and be blessed, right? Yeah.
Yes. Okay, because it's been 1 year. I feel like because it's been 1 year, there's lots of things to share.
365 days is a long time. 1 year is a long time and can also be a short time because really it feels like
actually those feels like yesterday. Like it feels like we are still newbies in this
1 year. Like it was yesterday I popped the question, right?
We're technically still newbies, but
like it's a long time, it's a short time altogether.
Yes. Like, and because of that, I feel like the things that would have today might maybe be a little longer than what one video can take. So we might need to maybe break it into parts, right? Yeah. For this conversation, I feel like there are different highlights to talk about, right? There are different segments for which we can effectively share what this journey has been like. There's the beginning phase of when we just got married. That's like the settling into the marriage phase. And we could then talk about so let me put it this way. For this video, we'll be sharing how we settled into marriage, the first 1 to 3 months, what that experience was like. And then probably there were some expectations you had or expectations I had that maybe matched up with reality or probably didn't match up so well with reality.
Some of the things your pastor did not tell you.
Yes, and maybe we could also chip in marriage shocks into this video. And in the next video, we'll then I would list out maybe other things that we could talk about.
All right.
Our experience this 1 year, right? So let's start from the beginning, right? After the ceremony, after the joining, it was time to move in together and start this amazing journey. What was it like for you? Say for 1 to 3 months, what was that experience like settling into being a married man? How was it for you? Why do I sound like I'm interviewing you now, right?
Yeah, but it's okay. It's okay.
Yes.
So there was a first night and there was a first day. There was, after it all, first there's the excitement of this was happening. We were literally ready, prepared for it. We went through different counseling phases just to help us settle seamlessly. And I would like to state the importance of this. Make sure you have people who can guide you through this process, right? It's a new experience. You're literally transitioning from being an individual to begin to think for two, begin to act for two.
Definitely.
It comes with lots of changes mentally. And that's why mental capacity and maturity is required for this phase, right? And thanks to the teachers we have, thanks to the parents we have, thanks to the leaders, pastors, counselors we had around us who helped us prepare for this, prepared for this phase. Thanks to friends also, right? friends who were married, friends who were not married, who literally just helped us through this phase, right? So we gained a lot from their experiences. There's some we visited, literally sat down and was like, just school us, right?
Yeah.
Also, thanks to all the books, materials we read, podcasts we listened to, messages we listened to, YouTube videos we watched, just to all guide us, something like that, just to guide us through this. So there was literally readiness for it. And what that did for us was to help with the shock impact was not a lot because we were prepared for it. You actually had like a key for every door, right?
Yeah.
You had a tool for every problem, right? Or every challenge that came out. We've read this before. This is common. This is familiar, right? So it helped us plug in seamlessly, right? First few months, I mean, I had to leave the country at that point, but it was fun. It was exciting. It was new. It was fresh. There's joy, and I was happy. This fulfillment, especially when you know you're doing this in the will of God.
Yeah.
All right. There's this fulfillment, a sense of God's presence, that God is with you. This is something you've longed for a very long time, and now it's happening right before your very eyes. You're literally living your dreams. You're excited. I mean, that's it really. That's it. It was a beautiful experience for me.
Okay.
And also learning. Now you're living with someone else, right? As a guy, you're living with someone else that you probably have not lived with before. I mean, for me, it was strange. It was someone I met online. Not the most disciplined kind of online shop, you get what I mean. And we I think all our culture has been primarily on phone.
Yeah.
Right. Now coming to live with the same person. But thanks, we had critical moments of dates we went on. Spent some time together before marriage, asking ourselves questions, just getting to know one another better, right? Which is vital. But now you are literally in my space, in my corner. At this point there was literally nothing to hide. Right. And I say that metaphorically also. There was literally nothing to hide because this person was always, and when I say this person, my wife will always be in my space. Right? Like literally everywhere. Right?
Yeah.
You need to live with that and learn to live with that reality. And it was awesome, right? And it's still awesome. It's awesome that you have someone. Marriage is beautiful. It's beautiful.
Okay, my husband there, he has sounded all preachy and all serious.
I sound preachy.
I mean, you sounded so serious, like you're giving them points to take note of and all of that.
I'm sorry.
Maybe I will be like a more practical person. First 3 months, I mean, it's almost sounded like you generalized it, which is not bad. It's good. But when it comes to our own first 3 months, it was not the easiest for me. And not because married life was bad. It was actually because we had to experience or handle long distance.
Okay.
So that made it hard, to be honest. Because just a few days, is it days or weeks? Was it even up to a week?
Yeah, it was 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay. So a few weeks after we got married, hubby here had to travel, and so we were separated for the period of 3 months actually.
Oh, okay. So I think my story was like the
After
2 weeks experience.
Oh, the 2 weeks experience. Yes. I mean, the 2 weeks was fun for me. It was actually good, but I feel like there was.
I mean, you knew
it was
going
yeah.
so.
We know, so like all my mind was on the fact that he's going soon. And I mean, we spent a lot of time preparing for that process, for that separation and all of that. And so, even as much as we were trying to enjoy being newlyweds, most of my focus was on the fact that he's going to leave me soon and all of that, right? So yes, I mean, it was good, but also not so great that he had to leave me, right? But then we got to experience long distance marriage, and he had already talked about like the first 2 weeks of marriage, which I totally agree with. Because of the preparation that we've had, it made transitioning into marriage not so easy. I mean, considering the fact that we had our relationship had been primarily virtual online, and it's not like we've had lots of time to spend with each other physically and all of that. But it was, I mean, I feel like the friendship that we had made it easier. So we were able to build and develop our friendship within that short period of time. And so you could tell that we actually valued each other's company as friends, then as a couple, right? But that friendship made it like very easy. It was easy to just like be vulnerable with each other, to just, I mean, just chill and just be happy in each other's space, right? But after that, we had to endure, or I had to endure being, being separated from him for 3 good months. Like, it was not easy at all. I'm not going to lie. For those that have had to be separated from their spouses for even much longer than that, kudos to you guys, man, because I mean, I don't know how you guys do it. And the funny thing is that, you know, we are done. When we started talking, it was virtual, right? So in my mind, I thought that, okay, it's going to be that same vibe now. Like, it's going to be like, okay, I mean, we handled doing virtual relationship all the while before marriage. Probably, it's not the same thing. The fact that you're not married, like, the way the tea was paining me, like, I even cried at some point, to be honest. Like, I mean, I cried many times. And you teased me about it, right? It was really hard. And I think at that point is when, like, I mean, it was actually a very big test of, I mean, are we really doing this? Like, test of our commitment, test of our devotion, because you need to be, like, communication at this point is, like, it should be, like, tripled. If not, I mean, it should be a whole lot more, because you're not with this person physically. You don't get to see this person physically. The only connection you probably have is the conversations you have virtually, right? And so it has to be happening like almost all the time, to be honest. I remember then.
Sorry to interrupt you. Thanks to technology.
Yeah.
WhatsApp, really? Google Meet. I mean, imagine days where you needed to write letter.
And it take like how many weeks
it take like deliver? A month or so to get delivered. Like, how does it do?
I mean, like, it was not easy. I remember then when he's in a meeting, he'll place the phone, we'll be on a video call. I mean, we didn't even really have to be communicating or have to be talking. The fact that I just there can see him, right, like, was enough, kind of. And I mean, even then we had, I think God just helped us, because there was a times I'll be like, I would feel like, oh, he's not paying enough attention to me, but then he has to work, and I mean, like, I just want him to be all about me all the time. But then we had to come to like a balance of what is possible, right, for that period. But it was finally time for me to go join him. And
3 months. Yeah. 3 months was an interesting 3 months.
It was really. It was.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I think with the help and the wisdom of God, we handled it well. Yeah. And like you said, you must communication at that point is very critical. Very critical. As a guy, you should not even be desired to be alone or apart. Heightened temptation, heightened desires, and all of that, right? So do all to manage it properly. I mean,
if I think about it, I think we actually made effort to. I mean, there's a point where just talking about how was your day and all that gets boring. And for the peculiarity of our situation, even though we are married, we're still in that phase of getting to know each other, you know, right? Because I mean, we literally courted for 3 months, right? We got married in 3 months. And if you have not seen that video, we'll link it somewhere. You should go see that video and listen and listen to our story, right? It's actually a very interesting one. But then we were still in that phase of maybe trying to get to know each other better, to understand this person's peculiarities and all of that, right? And having to now do it virtually. I mean, you would think that, oh, you are married now, like we are now going to be like in each other's space after enduring being apart, and then we now have to endure 3 months again. But we tried to make it fun in a way that we did like virtual dates, kind of. We did virtual, we played games online. So it's kind of spiced up the communication in a way that it was not boring, right? Like it was not like we're repeating the same routine over and over again. So we try to incorporate things. We play games together online, we go on dates and all of that. When he's going to the mall, I'll follow him. When I'm going somewhere, there was like constant updates of what's happening, and you know, like all those little things, like those little things actually count. And I feel like it made it, even though it was still hard, but it kind of made it not to be like as brutal as it should have been from my own end.
And I'd like to chime this in. Thanks for raising that point. And I also think it's important that, I mean, we've emphasized constant communication.
Yeah.
And now that we played games, we did all those fun things, right? We also did lots of serious things.
Yeah.
But the fun things are very, very vital in keeping the excitement alive. All right. I know someone will say, oh, people just got married. That's why. I would like to say this, that I think you should keep those fun things. Yeah. I mean, you see us do serious, but when we want to play, we play like children, right? Yeah, we literally play like children. We want to keep our inner child alive. It's not all serious. You realize that eventually marriage is advanced friendship, right? So a lot of friendly stuff we participated in, and we are very, very competitive people. And
am I?
Baby, you are. You don't let me win Ludo in peace.
But you always win me Ludo now.
And every other game, right? But you're very, very competitive, right? So we do lots of fun things. Just keep the excitement going, and we opine and strongly believe that it's not short term. It's not because it's new or it's fresh. It's part of our journey and something that I believe we desire to keep alive all 3 days of our lives, right? And I believe every other person should desire so. All right.
Yeah. So I mean, that's like the summary of the first 3 months, really. Yeah. So I mean, now, like, I would like to ask, were there expectations that you had that didn't match reality? And maybe were there like some shocks that you had regarding
marriage,
or being
married
to me?
All right. So this one is tough for me to say, right? Because, and I say it with all sense of humility. I believe there's a point that readiness helps you expect anything, such that you can navigate anything, as it were, right? So expectation was open, right? I mean, for the lack of a better word, I met you online. That even stretches the expectation. I say you can even to consider this possibility.
Yeah.
To do this within this short span. There's a level of clarity and that comes into play, and maturity that comes into play. So expectation was open, right? And to some degree, I think I was willing to learn, right, and be vulnerable. Remember, I've said that your vulnerability made me more vulnerable, right? To treat you as a woman that God has made you, and just work with. Because I've said you said yes, I do. I've said would you marry, and there's no going back. This one must work. Whatever it is that comes up, we'll navigate it, right? Maybe you have points to raise, but I'm sincerely trying to find it to say, oh, this one didn't tick my box. I was like, there was no box initially to be ticked, right? I kind of treat you as the person that you are, your peculiarities, our differences, and let's see how we can work with this and build what God would have us do, right? That's
so
it.
So there was also no shocks, that there was nothing about me that, or about being married to me, that was like, like you did not see this coming. Nothing like that.
Maybe I think I'll just open to anything, really.
Okay.
Forgive me if you.
I guess I'm a perfect wife.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm just kidding. We are perfecting each.
Yeah, we're learning. We're growing, and I think that's what makes it interesting, right? Yeah. You also say apart. Maybe you have some. It's okay to say, oh, this guy was not the guy, or some guy thought it was, right?
This guy, this guy.
Or maybe kidding. as we think about it, we begin to look at them and say, oh, this guy fat, and I didn't expect this. Oh, this cute lady. No.
I mean,
so after eating, you don't wash your dish after, like, right? So I mean, that's on the light end, but we're literally open to anything. As what you order was what you got. So just work with it, right? Okay. Yeah, but it'd be interesting to learn if there anything that you
okay, for me, I mean, first of all, I think I should say that I was not expecting a fairy tale, if that makes sense. So when it comes to expectations, I was not expecting anything that was outside what is expected. Because I mean, like, if you don't have, there are things that are definitely, even if not heightened, there are subtle expectations that you expect from someone that is your partner, right? So I was not expecting anything out of the ordinary or out of what is attainable or achievable. But I think I was only expecting you to be who I thought you were and who you've presented yourself to be, right? And this was regarding principles and all of that. But when it comes to maybe attitude around the house or how he goes about doing his things, I wouldn't say there was a lot of expectation, because then this is someone that I mean, we are all from different backgrounds and upbringings, right? So I knew that there was still going to be like a learning and adjusting to whatever I notice about how he conducts his business, right? Some things I point out, maybe some things that I feel like could be done better. I could point it out and maybe suggest a better alternative and all of that. But not in a way like, oh, I expected better from you. You should know, not in that way. So when it comes to expectations, I didn't expect anything beyond what is attainable. I only expected the bare minimum. Like, I mean, I expected him to show me love. We had talked about love languages. I expected him to be able to communicate to me in my love languages. You know, those kind of things that, I mean, we had talked about, we had agreed upon. So those were the kind of things that I expected, right? And it happened at some point, like, these expectations were not completely met.
Oh,
and
sorry to interrupt you. Okay, let me let you finish. Because I remember, speaking about love language, I remember we had a conversation where I think it was still within a 3-month span. Okay. Where we were like, rate my love language expression.
Yeah. Love language suffered.
Oh my God.
Love language suffered that period. I mean, when it comes to expectation, these are things we had talked about, because preparing for marriage, we had talked about like what we would like to see in each other, so to speak. So the things that we had agreed upon and we had communicated about, those were the things that I expected from him. I didn't expect anything outside what had been communicated, if that makes sense, right?
So speaking about love language, and maybe that'll take us back to the things.
Okay.
So we're speaking virtually at that point, and I think you're like, you want me to show you more love and all of that. Then I said, okay, I don't know how this all started, but I was like, oh, let's read our love language expression, right? Please, remotely, virtually, how do you rate somebody 2 or 3 on physical touch?
I didn't rate you 2 on physical touch. No. I said due to the fact that, I mean, I'm sure I gave a very logical reasoning, because I know that I could not have expected physical touch because of the distance. So giving 2 was not because of your lack
How is
of
the physical touch,
it's just because of the situation. Did I even score physical touch?
Well,
but there were other things. I had solid points. Too bad I can't remember my points right now, but I had solid points. But I don't think I rated you 2 physical touch. And if I did,
but was it 3 or something that I felt was like, babe?
I think it was, what are the love languages? There's physical touch, gifts, words of affirmation, quality time. It was quality time I gave you.
Okay.
And not because we're not on the call, it's just because when we were on the call, I felt like it wasn't his attention was divided. So I think the argument then was that if you are going to be talking to me, focus on me. You get, don't do like, it's not a call to fulfill all righteousness the way I wanted, why I thought it should be. It's not to fulfill like this. We are not together, so we needed that time to bond and connect. So you can't be, look, I mean, there's time for that. So I think I have to give you like time, like you should tell me the time that you are free to give me all your attention. I think
that was how we navigated that.
Yeah, like, so because I mean, we definitely, it had to work, and we could be on a video call while he's doing other thing, and just knowing that it was there was okay for me. But that was not all I wanted. I also wanted times where it was completely focused on me, and at that time I think work was really like demanding on him, and I wasn't getting too much of that. So I scored you 3 on quality time. So
3.
I had but after then
Just 3.
After
that love language so far.
Instead doing so many things, you ask me, what's my score now? I was like, oh God, calm down. Your score has got up, but yeah. So I mean, when it comes to expectations, those were the kind of things that I expected, just things that were communicated about, which is why communication is actually very important. So for like regular things, if I see that he maybe doesn't see the need to maybe do something in a certain way or do anything at all, like, and this could be anything really, I'll communicate it to him first, right, to know that okay, I expect this, right? And then it is after that communication, if it is not now meeting that expectation, then maybe we can now have another conversation. So
thanks for always communicating your expectations, and I think it helps me especially because I have quite a number of blind spots. Right, thanks for always saying it. Yeah,
welcome.
Because I mean, not even saying, I'll be like, okay, let's just.
A lot of times it's not saying.
Let's just get it done, right?
Preparing for marriage, I've learned from those I spoke to. There's like the issue of communication was always hammered into my, and you know, like communication, like it was actually tricky for me because I remember when we were courting, you had mentioned that you don't like someone that nags. And this came to me, I was like, okay, when you say nag, I feel like my understanding of a nagging wife, I mean, even the Bible doesn't encourage wives that nags, right? Maybe constant complaining, constant repetition in a way that maybe degrades the other person. That's what I would maybe consider nagging. But at that time, I just felt like maybe nagging would be like repeating something over and over again, saying something. But there are some times where you will have to say it more than once. Not because you're nagging. Because I can say something the first time you heard, but it has not really stuck. I'll have to say it again. I'll not say, okay, because I don't want to nag, I will not now say it again. No. But it's just the manner of which I say, the approach on which I present it again in a way that it's not like, you this man safe. Is it that you don't have sense? Why? Like, I've been saying this that you will not hear, Like, I mean, if it gets to that point, I usually would caution myself and maybe apologize, because there are different ways to communicate. You don't want to communicate in a way that it is out of disrespect or dishonor, because even in as much as we don't always meet each other's expectation, we are still supposed to respect and honor each other, right? That's expected from us, people from God, right? So you don't also want to communicate in a way that you're downgrading the person and just making the person feel worthless, right? And so for me, I had to find a balance between, okay, communicating effectively and not being a nag. And I mean, I don't know, I'm still learning because the tendency to maybe see your husband and now feel like maybe it's your first child, like it's very high up there. Like, I didn't know that it was something that I was capable of doing, maybe because I'm a firstborn. Maybe that's why I have that tendency.
Red flag.
But sometimes in my head, there's always that tendency to maybe talk to him like maybe I'll be talking to my child or a younger one. But then we need wisdom, to balance these things, right? But communication is important. Communicate your expectations, which is what I did. And so I would not expect anything outside that which I have communicated. Like I said earlier, my expectations were based on the things that we talked about and based on the things that he had presented himself to be, right? So I was expecting, okay, but you presented yourself to be this kind of person, but that's not what I'm seeing. So those were the expectations. But when it comes to expectation versus reality, there was nothing that was like I was expecting, and the thing just like
it's not a child of God. Like,
yeah.
was.
No, nothing like that. I mean, there were some shockers.
Really? What shocker?
The fact that once you hit your head on the bed, you have slept off in like 2 minutes. Like, I was not expecting that.
That one is default. It's the way God wired.
That was a big shocker to me. Speaking of marriage shocks now, like, how would we lie on the bed and maybe me, I'm still trying to form conversation.
I'm like, oh babe, good night.
And I'm still trying to settle that. And this guy's already sleeping beside me. I'm like, and I can be there, but the next 30 minutes, sleep is not coming.
Do you know, I didn't know that was a thing. I want to maybe go to bed like around 11, 10, 11, 12. And you told me, and I wake up early like 5, 6, and you're sleeping. I'm like, they be like, I went to bed like around 2. I'm like, 2? Why?
I slept off.
We said good night, right? 2 a.m.
Once you say good night, it's like it just activates something in you and it's off. I'm like,
baby gives his beloved sleep.
That was a shocker to me. Like, I didn't expect it. But when it comes to like major shocks, I wouldn't say there was any serious shock, to be honest. I mean, I feel like we all grew up in a family unit at some point. I mean, well, speaking for myself, I lived until I lived with my parents up until I got married. And so
I snatched you from
seeing how they relate in that regard, I think it had already created a kind of buffer for whatever shock might have been, if that makes sense. So there was really no like too much shock, because I mean I see how my dad is with my mom, how they relate, how they handle things, maybe things that my mom talk about. So for me, there is really no shock, because I mean I can see how a family operates. I can see how a couple relates with each other and how this works. So for shocks, I think that already maybe kind of gave me a just reduce the impact whatever shock would have come.
Experience.
Yeah, so I didn't have any serious shock. I mean, and it's not because shocks are not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I think it also ties into expectations.
Yeah, it's a simple idea of what you order, is what you got. Right?
And not because what you're getting is bad. It's just that, okay, maybe their preferences. So I feel like, okay, in the idea of maybe preferences, maybe this person has, or my husband for what we are talking about, has his own preferences, or maybe his way he likes to do things. And I mean, there are instances that actually comes to mind.
Which instance?
Let me finish. So I think when it comes to shock, is because I think it's just better to focus on, or I just decided, okay, I understood that he would have preferences, and some of these preferences to me, like, sometimes I allowed it. I thought like, but this is totally unnecessary now. But then I had to understand that these were his preferences and respect that. I mean, there was a time that we were chatting with some of our friends about love, right? I think we're talking about loving your neighbor as yourself. Do you remember that conversation?
Was it knitted?
Yeah.
Okay.
Loving your neighbor as yourself. And I mean, just as we were having that conversation, I just had this very interesting insight onto what that might mean. Because when the Bible says love your neighbor as yourself, I feel like it is easy for us to think that it means that we should love our neighbor, in this instance my husband, as I would love myself. But I feel like what it might actually mean is that for myself, there are ways I love myself. There are things I prefer. I have my own love languages, and I love myself with that in mind. Do you guys get me? I love myself with that in mind. Okay, I know that I like the color blue, for instance. So if I'm maybe to get myself a gift, I'll prefer to go for something color blue. I'm not going to come and love him, or maybe getting a gift with my own preferences in mind, right? I'm going to love him with his own preferences, if that makes sense. So
Mm,
when you think about loving your neighbor as yourself, you need to understand what they prefer. You need to understand what makes them the way they are, like what are the things that are more important to them, and love them based on this knowledge, right? And I had to come to a point where I understood that, because there were some things that I feel like if I am okay with it, he should automatically be okay with it now. Like, it's not that a big deal. And it doesn't even have to be like serious things. It can be like very little things. So I'm like, but I mean, why is he so stuck on this way of doing this thing, right? And I don't understand that. I mean, is the way he is. That's what makes him unique. That's what makes him who he is. And I cannot come out and force him to be any way else just because that is how I prefer it, right? And an instant that will come to mind, this is the instance that comes to mind. He, for example, likes to be served in a proper dish.
Maybe we can put it.
No, like it's not bad, babe.
I know. I'm just saying it for saying it.
So like he likes that. He just likes the whole idea of like, aesthetic presentation, right? For me, and I don't sense anyhow, even if it's the plastic plate, I'm good, right? And I had sometimes if I said, babe, should I give you this? And I said, no, like give me that one, like I want this one. And I'm like, it's not just plates, it's not just food, it's not just for you to eat the food. So at some point, like I was almost getting irritated, like why is it being so difficult and just being so insistent on this? But I mean, I think I even had to apologize on one of those instances, that I'm sorry that I keep insisting on you doing it the way I prefer. But I just have to understand that, I mean, if that is what you want, that is what he wants. End of story, full stop. It doesn't have to be anything more than that. The fact that that is what he wants and prefers, that is it.
Interesting. Like that's similar to the toothpaste pressing at the bottom issue. That story here about. The funny thing is, I can use any plates, but I bought plates. I want to use my plates. Is it too much? I don't want to use takeaway plates to eat my food. Why did I buy this one? Let me use it, right? So I think we're pretty flexible, right? Maybe we have certain preferences and like, well, I like this better than this. I would like to use this. This makes me feel good. This is just there. And I've purchased this for this. So let me just use it, right? That seemingly little thing can be an issue. I would like to backtrack a bit, right? So one of the points you raised is the fact that you've seen how your family operate and all of that. For some of us, our first introduction to the marriage reality is our own home, right? We saw our parents, we saw our father and mother, the way they treated themselves and all of that, right? And we just glean from it. Intentionally, we just suck in all the information, and oftentimes we tend to replicate it, right? That becomes a problem if, and this is not to spite anyone, if you came out from what we refer to as a dysfunctional family, right? And you may just suck certain things that is not ideal or that is not relevant to you, and we're just gonna repeat it somewhere, and then issues begin to come up, right? So that's why education is required, training is required, seeking counsel is very critical, right? If you desire to have a blessed home. We're not saying we have figured it out, right? We are figuring it out, and this is a lifelong school for us, right? At 80, 100, we'll still be learning. I'm like, wow, I've not seen that side of you before. We'll be like, grandma. All right, but we're learning, right? But we thank God thus far. So back to the plate thing. I just like my plate all fancy, ceramic dish, proper dish.
And I give it to you, babe. Don't
tell. Yeah. Thank God for needed in love. All right, so I think I will even chime in here, speaking about that and how it helped us. So we've got this group of young couples where we discuss and share thoughts together, so we can learn from one another. It's a support group for us, right? And if you can, I would advise and encourage that you have something similar, right? So also up here you can share about it and say, My wife did this yesterday. I'm not saying you should go to your spouse or something. I'm just saying that as an example. So I think that issue we cited as an example to say, this is what our partner, this is how we handle this, right? Yeah. So don't think you're getting married to a saint, as it were. People have their preferences, and they're not necessarily bad preferences.
Yeah, no.
Right?
Yeah, no.
They're just preferred way of doing things, and you just need to I don't mind, but for example, if I go, I can use anything, right? We are bound, we are bees. But I just feel.
I mean, I feel like like when it comes to preferences, it should also be. I mean, I feel like we are also in each other's lives also correct in certain ways. And in as much as we want to respect each other's preferences, there are some times that some things you should actually say that, okay. I mean, especially when it's maybe a bad thing, or maybe like a habit that is not, like a bad habit, for example. You can also correct the person in love, might I add. In love, right? With respect, like just point out that, okay, I know that this is how you have been doing it, but I don't think like it is really that good, right? So, because when we say preferences, it's easy to just say that, okay, this is how I like it.
Like,
that's how I was brought up, also just leave it like that. But no, not necessarily. Like, not necessarily. And I feel like even in some other things, when you in some other things, right, as a couple, you can actually decide to learn the preference of your spouse, right? I mean, it might not necessarily be on the plate issue now, but I mean, for other things, the fact that you love and you're trying to get to know this person, you might want to experience certain things the way your partner prefers to experience it, and to understand better, because it's easy to be disconnected from the things that your spouse enjoy because you have chosen to stick to how you would rather do it, right? So sometimes, even though it might be maybe somewhat uncomfortable, somewhat like, I mean, but yeah, just like put that extra effort, make that sacrifice to try and do something the way your spouse prefer, instead of maybe, I mean, because that kind of thing sometimes it might result in maybe, oh, you do it your own way, I do it your way, and sometimes it might not create that atmosphere for unity that we should actually be trying to encourage, right? And so sometimes compromise. That's why they say marriage is about compromise. Like, I prefer to do it this way, but this your own way also is not that bad. Sometimes our minds are just so closed up to trying to do something a different way because we are so used to a certain way of doing things that we don't even know that this other way could actually be even better than how we are used to doing certain things. And so it's good to have an open mind, and I think that comes from a place of love and desire to be more connected to your partner, right? If you want to be more connected, you want to understand it from how he's seeing it, from their perspective, from their preferences, right? And see, okay, maybe this okay, I tried this, like I actually see why you prefer it that way, you know, that kind of thing. I actually see why you actually understand like why you prefer it this way now. Not bad. I mean, even though I'm still more comfortable with doing it the way I used to do it, but I mean, I feel like now I can actually try and do it your own way sometimes. Do you get? So I feel like that is also important, just to create a balance to things. And I feel like it is the way of love, really, because if you're also loving, if I'm loving my neighbor as myself, and I try to love him based on his preferences, he also, because he's trying to love me as he loves himself, or as God loves the church, or I mean, just the practice of love in general, he also wants to understand, okay, because I love this, let me try and understand why she does this the way she does.
She watches YouTube all the time.
You gotta expose me like that?
I'm like, vlogs?
Do you have to expose? Funny enough, even though he doesn't pay attention to the things I watch, somehow he knows all the things I watch. And at least this reminds me, there was one expectation I had that didn't quite come through.
Which of them?
I thought when we were married, we'll have bonding time watching movies together.
Oh.
Men and brethren, sisters and brothers.
I mean, we watched some movies together.
That was not the case. This man doesn't like movies. Like, I would rather watch my movie alone, because anytime we watch movie together, it will just spoil my mood. Because let me is my expectation.
All right, explain it properly.
I will. So prior to marriage, I thought that okay, like watching movies together would be like a cute. I felt like it would be like a cute thing. We'll cozy up on the couch, maybe with a blanket, with maybe a drink or some snacks, and watch a movie together. And it just felt romantic and cute. But I've soon discovered in this 1 year experience that I have that I would rather watch my movie alone, because I mean there are couples that watch movie together, but it does not just work for us, because when we are watching a movie, what do we do? Is that if he's not criticizing how the actor is doing what he's doing, he's explaining to me how the camera is moving from one place and the camera movement. And I'm like, can you not just do that? Can we just enjoy the entertainment? The movie is meant to entertain us. Can we just watch it for that purpose? I mean, I'm not saying that there are movies that even I am like, okay, this movie is trash, but every movie I say let's watch together, it must make the movie will just lose its appeal to me.
So honestly. For context, right? We watched some movies together. Bread of Life, beautiful movie. I think one of the best movie last year, right?
Even the ones we even watch together, sometimes he's spending maybe like half or quarter of the time on his phone. So, I'm like, it's not just to watch the movie, it's supposed to be a bonding time. It's supposed to be part of the experience.
So that one I would try and improve, right? I would learn. Thank you.
Don't worry, I watch my movie by myself.
but often I think what happens is I just put on my director's lens and I'm asking myself why that scene was not necessary. Oh, and I know why I moved that camera this way. Well, I'm thinking, okay, this is another approach, or this is why I did this. I'll be like, babe, take it back. That scene, do you remember that scene? And she's like, people just watch this.
Let's just watch the movie and enjoy it.
So gradually, I'll need to just turn off my director's.
At this point, are you sure you can turn it off? Because
I don't know. Maybe except if I say good movie.
I mean, this director's own service is even better. Sometimes he just says that the movie is trash. Like
I'm like,
he just condemns the movie like that.
I'm like,
I can't watch it. Like
no.
I'm like, okay, me that is watching it now. Me, I don't have brain. I'm foolish.
That's your preference. All right. So right. I think I've not seen so many good movies. All right. So
you're just a movie person. I don't just think you're a movie person.
I'm very selective about the movies I watch. Really. It has to. I'm trying to look for the right word to use. It has to meet my criteria for excitement or thrill. For example, these are some secular movies, right? Knives Out, all right, 1 and 2. That's a movie that helps you think. I mean, looking at the plot, I
didn't watch it. It was interesting.
I'm like, this is brilliant, right? These are some of the movies I want to watch, right? Okay. But when I see or just shooting,
it's okay. We are not doing movie review here. It's fine. Like, we understand. You are a movie critic.
No inspiration. Nothing is making me. So certain good movies anyway, but they don't just meet my criteria for excitement. And I don't think I want to invest time in that. Right? Yeah, maybe I'm also not just a movie person.
Yeah, I don't think you're such. I mean,
maybe I'm not just a casual movie person.
But guys, that was like one of my expectations that was just crushed so badly. So badly.
So sorry.
Yeah, how did I forget that? But yeah. So I mean, I guess that's all we'll be sharing for this video.
Okay.
I mean, there's still more, but I feel like this is a good point to maybe stop this and we'll talk about
it in the next video if anything comes up, right?
So, I mean, if you've enjoyed this, which I'm sure you have, please like, share, and drop a comment for us.
She said, please. I know it might not be your preference, but make it your preference. To do also like, share, and subscribe, and do also comment. I would like to get comments from you.
Yes.
All right, please. You said please. We are not proud. Let meet our expectations.
Please. It's all right.
Thank you so much, guys.
It was really nice. This was actually really nice, and yeah, I mean, and you should also look forward to the next one. I mean, if this was juicy, imagine how the next one is going to be, right? But it's okay. See you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.